This video is brought to you by Juice Energy. If you're looking for a great gaming supplement, use my code on screen to receive 10% off. So let's talk about Team Fortress 2, and yes, I know you probably already guessed in the title that you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. TF2 for as long as I've played has and will always be a fantastic game, as it's offered so much in everything. A lot of people will tell you how it was one of their games growing up, along something of the signs of RuneScape or Halo, or if you're like me, Team Fortress 2, and how it played upon everything, from content creators, people creating new and unique mods and items, and by far important was the community. So why am I exactly making this video if I've already mentioned a lot of the key detail? Well, this actually came from a popular TF2ber, Whammo, who asked his community, what do you want from Team Fortress 2 in 2022? But my response is simple. A game with updates, not localization files, not hats, not a map reskin or recycled content, pure quality of life, engine updates, and a game to feel more modern. TF2 is dry. The community holds it in by duct tape. And another article from IGN about the state of TF2 and its situation from Yahi Mice, again expressing my opinion, which made me think that I don't enjoy T2 as much as I used to back in the day, and a lot seem to be on this station of decline as well. And this is completely opinionated, as a lot of people still live with this game today, and it still performs substantially, even though it's been higher than what it was, due to the fact that the game is infested with bots. And this doesn't help that Valve have reduced the developing team from a handful of people to just one person, making this game development team non-near existent, as if Valve's trying to remove this game from its intended period. But now you're thinking, if the game's good and concurrent, what's the main issue? And why am I bickering on about it? Purely because it's nearly been 6 years since a form of update to keep the game interesting, as well as potent of the constant bots, hackers that ruin the game for a lot of people. But before you go in the comments and state, the game got recently updated, we got Smithmas. I want to point out that these are minor updates, and they are not game changing in any form to keep the game interesting, despite the Scream Fortress update giving us a couple of new maps and effects. I want to give my opinion that is not classified as a major update. Cosmetics, overrides, existing maps, or updating localization folders are purely hiding the base of a game's ignore issue, and that's what builds this game together. For those who don't know what I'm going on about, I'm talking about Valve's crown jewels, the Source engine. It is one of the most innovative engines of its time back in 2004, when games started to make the transition into 3D, and Source during that time was a breakthrough. Fast forward, and the line of Source is getting old in today's standards. It has introduced many variants which persist a lot of issues, such as limitations on the newer or even older hardware, and even the compatibility on future projects that may be demanding, or even the big one yet, overall performance, modding, and future-proofing. Now, Valve does have Source 2 in its supporting games such as Dota 2 and Half-Life Alyx, and they bring a lot to the table, which allows future-proofing and better optimizations on later builds and newer hardware, or even older hardware that still has sustainability. Engine updates to the game is also critical, as most of the mainstream hardware which have been classified as extremely high-end are becoming more and more common, such as mice with higher polling rates, graphics cards supporting ray tracing, or even graphical options, or even CPUs not utilizing 2 of their 16 cores, causing a forced bottleneck, and not to mention graphical and render limitations. I get obsessed with gaming integrity, but I'm only scratching the surface. Now, with the technical side out of the way, let's actually look at the game itself. TF2 for the most part has been pretty simple and kept the exact same way for over a decade, with the introduction to more UI changes as the years progress, as well as introducing some good and not some good modes to the games, which you probably agree with me, and maybe pastime's not the greatest. A lot of these changes were well received within the community, and that it came to the midst of a leveling system, parties, a more friendly server browser, quick play, as well as weapon loadouts to make the game not feel too generic, which in my opinion gave it a huge coat of paint of the friendliness to newer players, as well as made it to be more modern to today's standards. But however, that was in 2017 with the Jungle Inferno update, or even the Make Love Not War update in 2014, which, let's talk about that. For the past 4 years, as far as we're aware, TF2 has not had one unique item added that wasn't a cosmetic or decorated item, despite TF2bers actually making properties for workshop items which have been great in the game itself. See, all the weapons in TF2 is nothing short of impressive. Weapons that increase damage at the cost of mobility, or utility that allows health regen but sacrifices your secondary. But after a while, with meta and lack of content, we do start to see people ideally using the exact same loadouts and not expecting anything new to the table, which makes the game's adaptability a bit too easy. This word is balance, and it is important. This is where a weapon or a class is specifically tuned for a strength or weakness in certain situations. However, a veteran or savvy player can easily pick up on a playstyle of a person after a few minutes, due to having their knowledge since it's been no apparent change. Weapon tunings have had their fair shape and balance, but adding a uniqueness or a new form of identity or a new weapon makes two things: master in the user and perception for the receiver, which while it separates people's skill level, it also helps broaden counterplay. Now, in my tweet, what do I mean by recycled content? As a lot of people seem to flip their mind when they see Scream Fortress or Smithmas and automatically think the game is better again, when in reality, this is their mind thinking the game is changed because of a new coat of paint. Cosmetics or map reskins are not offered as new content, rather fillers to an update, keeping the game feeling fresh and similar to a new skin or an ornament, say in other games like Destiny, Fortnite, or even PUBG. However, a new map put into the game would classify this as a minor content update, as there's nothing else that supports that map unless if it offers a new mode. So if you have one new map with one new mode that only works together with said map, this update is a filler treatment. So if I'm thinking out loud here, what classifies as an update? If it's not weapons or cosmetics, voice lines, emotes, you get the idea. What exactly classifies as an update? Quality of life and content packaging. Let's go back to 2014 and 2017, where both major patches have been released that addresses a lot of issues, as well as introducing many balance fixes such as new weapons, maps, new cosmetics, achievement, and thus more importantly, the contract system to keep the game more interesting and enjoyable by many at their time. A battle pass before battle pass. Updates like these blossom through the community purely because of the visual uniqueness, enjoyability, except for pastime. No one likes pastime. Or manpower. When I mention that other games receive a major update, I classify how these games bring something new to the whole game itself. Fortnite or even Destiny season updates are nor major nor minor. However, when the new builds, say Chapter 3 of Fortnite or the Witch Queen DLC for Destiny, those are classified as major updates, purely for the vast increase of content, quality of life overhaul, or even offering more to what the game has. TF2 in this case has been absent for well over nearly 6 years now. Despite the minor cosmetic patches, fixes, or even addressing the temporariness, still has had no major change of suit to the style of genre. Sounds like man vs machine. Are we gonna see anything about that, actually? Now, with the free-to-play model of TF2 being around for over 10 years now, the game wouldn't be earning any money as it used to back on release, when it still does, and this is coming from its free-to-play model of microtransactions, and Valve have made 3 of them. The first one are crates. Crates unbox cosmetics or skins for about $3.50 AUD per key, which has a chance to yield a unique item, which is their key selling point and getting people addicted to this. The next one are MVM tickets, which cost $1 AUD each per ticket. These give people the chance to gamble for completing tours for high-selling items or incredibly rare items known as Australiums. And then you have the update pass, which now is completely useless because no one buys them anymore because there's been no updates. However, the one good thing about these update passes were they were a permanent battle pass, which people really liked, except for competitive. They'd done a lot. Now let's go back to my crate comment. Unboxing items comes at no loss for Valve, as if you have a person who spends $500 on keys, then buys crates on top, and depending if they were new, they can be anywhere between 6 cents to $5 per crate, depending on the time, release, or even the rarity. Weapon skins and some cosmetics are worth near nothing, and people lose about $3 per key, unless you so happen to unbox higher grade items such as a factory new assassin grade unusual with a strange counter, which sell for a hell of a lot. Then that's the only time Valve will lose money due to their community market worth, or so you'd think. Which, let's talk about the community market, because this is how the game earns a lot of its money. If you earn an item that's worth about $50 from a $3.50 key, then you've made a profit. you've made a net worth of $46.50. However, if you wish to sell that item on the community market, you would receive a 10% tax from Steam, then a 5% tax from Team Fortress 2. Which doesn't stop there, because if your item is not worth that amount because of its rarity, effect, or even the quantity, the item could be sold for less. So for the sake, the item is now selling for $40. You've spent your keys and now you have the 15% tax, which is an additional $6. You have gained $30.50 to your Steam wallet, which may not sound too bad, but let's say you're that person who did spend $500 on keys plus the $20 for crates. You have nearly lost $490, granted the odds were in your favor because all those other items sell for either $2, maybe 30 cents, which is nothing on Valve. They have earned their profit, and it's what gets players back into the game offering cosmetics as updates. So the profits from Valve are still in the high, which goes towards Valve's other projects which yield more money. Now let's get to my final comment, and that's how I believe TF2 is being held together by duct tape. And I hate this comment I've given myself, but it's honestly true. The game itself is still fun to play, but as of recent, a lot of YouTubers have been avoiding even straight out quitting, but in a modded standard it does not go to par and struggles in a lot of key areas. And a lot of the work seems very lazy and usually revolves around the community to fix or even get anyone else to making content for everyone else. The community for this game is phenomenal. It is amazing, and it's what holds TF2 together. And this does work both for Valve and for the community, with new emote, cosmetics, skins, and even community to be released on every update or seasonal event. TF2 is on life support by its community, and it's willing to keep the game alive because there are people out there who genuinely care, including myself making this video. And this goes even further supported from people going out of their way making TF2 competitive in their standards and even helping with charity streams. And it's been acknowledged on the announcement pages from Steam. An example is the TF2 Classic mod, which offered so much, and people wish this all to be in the game because it was fantastic. Team Fortress 2 for a lot of us has been around during the hard times. It has given new people opportunities to meet people, to find someone, or even make a career out of it. But in Team Fortress 2 State of Negligence from Valve, this game is in a grey area of keeping it fresh towards new and existing players, giving the people opportunity to expand on the game. But if you're thinking, if I've been talking about the negatives on this game, then come saying about the positives of the community, how do I know what's right for Team Fortress 2? To be honest, I don't. But the only way Team Fortress is to survive is basically addressing what I've said here, and more importantly, its community. So that's why on the 26th of May, there is a day where the community rallies together to share their dedication towards a game they love and hope a message is heard.